Another blockbuster trade in the NBA. LaMelo Ball gets traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. The NBA is in a frenzy right now, a day after the second round of the draft. The Minnesota Timberwolves now have the first and the third pick of the 2020 NBA draft in the backcourt. An explosive and really interesting backcourt that we're gonna be able to see this upcoming season in the NBA. And we talk about all this in this episode. The Charlotte Hornets trade superstar point guard LaMelo Ball to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Naz Reid, and they also traded shooting guard Josh Green for, like I said, Naz Reid, a 2033 unprotected first round pick, 3 first round pick swaps, and 3 second round picks. This is really interesting to me. For both teams, if you ask me, this is a really interesting trade, a little surprising on the Charlotte end, and actually also on the Minnesota Timberwolves end with the player that is involved in Naz Reid. But I'm assuming here that Charlotte is now officially handing the keys of the Hornets organization to Cancanupo and Brandon Miller, which I believe I would have waited maybe another year, especially after the season that they had last year. But maybe they know something that we don't know. LaMelo has not been super reliable in terms of health, so it might just be them trying to sell pretty high on him right now with this deal and getting a player of a Naz Reid caliber that they can possibly flip again or keep on the roster, because he also brings them that size and shooting ability, whether it's off the bench or in the starting lineup. And they also create a $40.7 million, I believe, or $40.3 million trade exception that they can use for another move if they wanted to. And that's just very interesting. Something is telling me both teams are not done with the roster construction as it is. They definitely get a very good player in return in Naz Reid, but I'm not wondering who's gonna be, because Cancanupo is more of a shooting guard than a point guard. But they now have the ability to even re-sign Kobe White if they wanted to, and it's gonna be interesting to see what Charlotte does from here on. I think they still have a pretty solid roster even without LaMelo. Like I said, now the keys are officially handed to Brandon Miller and Cancanupo. They still got Trey Mann. They still got Tidjane Salon, Grant Williams, Ryan Kalkbrenner, Musa Diabate, Kobe White. Like I said, that could be re-signed now. The young rookies that they drafted this year, Silent James might now get a bigger role on this Charlotte team. Now Brandon Miller, it's your time to shine in Charlotte, and the same issue that LaMelo been having is gonna now be all eyes on you, on your health. He's been pretty injured ever since he was drafted. This is gonna be important now for him to stay healthy and start performing night in and night out, because now the team is pretty much yours and Cancanupo's team. So I'm not sure, like I said, if the Hornets try to flip Reid again or keep him, but I'm sure they're gonna be listening to some offers and see what teams have there. I'm sure they're gonna have some offers for Naz Reid, who's gonna obviously be a better, well, not necessarily a better fit, but a better player for a championship contending team. So we'll see what happens on that end of the Hornets. Timberwolves, after the Brooklyn Julius Randle trade, were definitely looking for a new star, hunting for a new star, and they got it now with LaMelo Ball, who can definitely help them offensively. It was at a steep price, the steep price of getting rid of Naz Reid, who was a very important player for them, whether it was in the starting lineup sometimes or coming off the bench. in the 4 and 5 position for them, and they letting him go now to get LaMelo Ball, who is a great player offensively. He can score, he can rebound the ball. He is a very good creator of a very good playmaker as well for this Minnesota Timberwolves team, which would now allow Anthony Edwards to play more off the ball, provided that one, Melo stays healthy, two, that a real pecking order is also determined, especially when it comes to who is going to take the last shot. We've seen that at the beginning of the Luka and Kyrie Irving era in Dallas together, where they kept on just passing the ball to each other, trying to see who's going to take the last shot. They're going to at least they have the whole offseason now, training camp and all this stuff to determine all this. And I trust Chris Fitch to make the choice on this. I probably believe it's still Anthony Edwards' team as a number one, with Melo as a co-star, which I love for that team. If it wasn't for Naz Reid leaving, I think I would have probably even tried to get Rudy Gobert involved in this trade rather than Naz Reid. But maybe that's what Charlotte requested, because of the performance of Rudy Gobert in the last playoffs. They decided that it's more important to keep him. But they're losing some size in the front court also right now in Western Conference, where it seems like everybody is trying to add some size and length to their roster. But I love the addition of Melo for what he provides offensively. I'm not sure about what he provides defensively. I love that he's going to be able to help Ant-Man play off ball and get some additional creation on that team. I don't think they're also done. I think they're going to probably get some more moves done here. I think they end up adding this trade to the bigger trade, the other bigger trade that happened with Julius Randle leaving the team just for salary matches purposes. They absolutely not done. I think they do have a nice core between Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball now, and Jaden McDaniels on that Minnesota team, and they just drafted a guard in the second round. Early in the second round last night as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what other moves the Timberwolves make to go right back into contention, because as talented as those two guys are, I just don't think this team is talented enough or ready enough, especially in terms of size in the front court, for them to contend for a Western Conference Finals or an NBA Finals again. I believe they're going to go, the front office is showing that they're willing to go into the tax for a third consecutive year. So I believe they're going to make another move or two to get some size and some good players in the front court after losing Julius Randle and Naz Reid to try to make this thing work. They need a power forward now. In my opinion, and I believe they'll make the necessary adjustment to go get somebody. But what an exciting backcourt between Ant-Man and Melo in this NBA right now, and I can't wait to see them play together. I believe this is gonna help Anthony Edwards a lot, especially with the off-ball creation. You can't double Anthony Edwards now, because if you do, you're leaving LaMelo Ball open, and that's good luck with that. And same if you double LaMelo Ball. So that's really interesting in the backcourt, but the issue is still in the front court for these Timberwolves team. So let's see how they address that. They also get Josh Green off the bench now, especially with Dante DiVincenzo out for the beginning of the season with this injury, Achilles injuries that he got. So we'll see how everything falls out. They get two very good players back, and I'm sure they're not done. Like I said, this is pretty much, so neither team is done with their moves for this offseason, but they're off to a hot start in this NBA offseason right now, and free agency coming up next week as well. That's all I have for now for this trade. We're going to be here talking about any other trades that happen or any other moves in the NBA throughout the offseason. And continue to subscribe, like the video, share them. I'll catch you guys at the next episode. Ciao, guys.